This is Arabella Gordon, and today we're going to talk about vision boards. Is it okay for a Christian to have a vision board? Okay, so some years ago there was a movie called The Secret by Rhonda, Byrne, and in that movie it showed a very clear representation of what a vision board was and how numerous people have used that vision board to make their desires come true in their lives. Some Christians have been doing it. I can think of some Christians right now that I've seen make videos that they do vision boards. And so here we are. Is it okay for a Christian to have a vision board, or is it not okay? So Christians are always trying to stay away from what we classify as New Age. And so is a vision board considered New Age? And the answer is yes. As it's defined right now, it most certainly is considered New Age. So why is it New Age? It's New Age because the ones that use it are New Age followers, and they're professing New Age practitioners. Excuse me, it's summer, it's hot, I don't have the AC on because we're making a video, so excuse me if I do this. All right, so for me, it was hard because I did watch The Secret a handful of times, and the vision board is something that I've done before in my life, unbeknownst to even myself. I've used things like a vision board where I would clip things that I wanted and put them on index cards and write them and draw pictures of them. I actually have a deck of cards of things that I wanted as a Christian when I was praying very diligently for certain things to come to pass. So it was nothing different from a vision board, but sometimes it was a board and sometimes it was a stack of flashcards, and every card had a different idea. And every day I would put several on my desk as a focus. And so without knowing there was a thing called vision boards or that it was a New Age practice, I was led by the Holy Spirit to do that, to in my own free, childish mind as an adult, to somehow see an answer come to pass and to draw it, make a representation of it on a card. And I got to tell you, all those cards worked. All those cards worked. So at one time I had a business debt of $100,000. And I had maybe a whole deck of credit cards, maybe 52. And I had made a card where I called it the duck shooter. I would put all my credit cards like ducks in a row, and I would shoot them down one at a time. And you know what? I paid off that debt in 24 months, which was the goal that I had written down. And I took them down one at a time, just the way I called it. And I can give you dozens, maybe even 100 or more things that have come to pass in my life as a result of those cards. So when I heard about it and I saw The Secret, I thought, oh, that's the stuff I've been doing already. So it was easy for me, and I was wanting to overlook the parts that didn't include Jesus as the one and only way to God and the one and only Lord and Savior. So it was very, very hard for me. It was very confusing because these are things that I practiced as a Christian, but wasn't taught to me as New Age, so I didn't go into it like this. I did it just in God, in my own house. I would do these things and I would make prayers that I would pray to God come true. And so when I saw The Secret again, I could say much more, but I'll just say I was into it, and because I lived it, but I lived it in God. So, there's this saying that if you study something for 15 minutes a day, at the end of a year or two, you'd have like a bachelor's degree's equivalent of knowledge or a master's degree. So I studied things like TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, FENG SHUI, macrobiotics, so many things for so long, along with the Bible, but after the Bible, putting them all together synergistically. So I had this understanding that was exponential in that I could put all these things together. At one point I would say there's, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So on a certain day I would move something from one part of the house to the other and see what would happen as a result of it. And my experiments were very interesting, and you learn so much. So I was putting science and what I learned from Newtonian physics, what I'm hearing about quantum physics from Dr. Jim Richards from Huntsville, Alabama, and what I've learned from the Bible principles that I've seen, his principles that are eternal, and the Secret and everything else. Just putting it all together and synergistically understanding how this creation was working. So there came a day when I had to choose, and of course I chose Jesus, because when you weave all these things together, you understand a lot of things that's going on behind the scenes. so much more than what you see this three-dimensional world. What are they saying now? There are 7 dimensions that we can interact with, and there are up to 13 dimensions that we haven't even defined yet, and that's just where we are. There's galaxies being formed every day, every hour. So we know so little, but there's so much going on, and putting these thoughts together gives you such an insight into what's happening in the supernatural, spiritual realm. Just like when Daniel prayed, and it took 13 days for his prayer to be answered by the angel, because he was stopped by a principality and power in the air, a demonic force, something we can't see. Here is the thing that saved me, because I could have been lost and deceived and washed up with all these crazy New Age things and ended up under the foot of Satan, was that there is a discerning truth called the Scriptures. The living Word inside me was a double-edged sword, dividing even the bone and the marrow, and showing me what part I could eat and what part I had to throw out. So here I am. I'm here to talk about vision boards because of what I've learned from that. But let me tell you, I'm going to go ahead and cut to part 2. I'm telling you that there is a way to have a vision board that is Christian. But number 1, we're going to tell you all the reasons why just anyone shouldn't have a vision board, because it's very dangerous. Okay, so I wrote a few things down. So here, number 1, vision boards are very appealing to a Christian because it takes faith. We love faith, God loves faith, and it takes faith, but we love the idea that we have a picture of it, and it helps us to hope for it. It makes it feel like there's substance before there's substance. And it's faith. And the vision board is appealing because, it's like a child's game. We're making something like with Legos or claymation, Play-Doh, and we're making something that we see. We're making it on a board, and there's this creative part of us. We like it because we're seeing it. Part of it that's so appealing is because it takes faith, and Christians have faith, and it's just a way to explain or demonstrate or present our faith. Number 2, it takes a person who takes responsibilities for his future, which is what a Christian should do. That they have to believe in their own destiny in God, and they have to make plans and goals to a degree so they can mark their growth and to grow in God. For example, I'm going to read through the Bible this year, or by next year I want to be out of debt, or by next year I'm going to have accomplished X, Y, and Z. And Christians that are driven to have, we're taught that we should dream big, and we should. So a vision board, someone who likes vision boards would have dreams and goals. And that's another reason why it's attractive to a Christian, especially a maturing Christian, because it gives them the ability to dream and have goals and put them affixed in an organized manner. Okay, so next thing, let's see. Another aspect of faith is that we have to reach out into the unseen world to believe that these things are going to come our way. Not just the faith to call it forth, but the faith to say that, it's going to happen. It's coming. It's manifesting. So all this rationale amounts to it takes faith, and we love faith, and Christians are about it. It's a way to represent our faith. It's a way to set our goals, and all those reasons, it makes it attractive to us. And as a human being, not even just a child of God, we always want improvements in our lives. And we're recognizing where we could grow, and we're trying to hit the next level in God, to mature and to grow and to be more prosperous. And so in all those ways, it's awesome. It's Christ-like in every way so far. It's a New Testament Christian. So nothing wrong there. Here are the dangers and the pitfalls, kind of. All right, so on the other hand, some of the most dangerous parts about having a vision board is because sometimes the things that we put on it are not guided by the Word of God or by the Holy Spirit. It's guided by our avarice, our envy, our sense of revenge, our sense of entitlement, our sense of greed. Some of them are completely irrational, and some of them hurt other people, and here's the worst part of all. Some of them is witchcraft. The Bible would define witchcraft as when you're trying to control another person or elements in their lives with your own selfish desires. And honestly, if they're all desires from ourselves, apart from God, they're all selfish. They just are. And so the manipulation of situations, circumstances, and people to manifest selfish desires. Many people desire things that destroy our morals. Things like sex, fame, money, certain mates, certain jobs, even maybe something bordering on criminal acts against other people for revenge. So when you've got stuff like that going on in your heart and they kind of end up on your vision board directly or indirectly, you got problems. And so now I used to make vision boards, and I used to make them even to match the Feng Shui Bagua. So the Feng Shui Bagua, I'm going to shoot a picture of it over here, is 9 quadrants. And the 9 quadrants each show a different aspect of human life. So I'm going to go ahead and hold it up, and I'll probably put an overlay on it so you can see it better. Whoops. All right, so we're going to go ahead and show it here. On the top left is wealth and prosperity. It's signified by the colors red and purple. The top middle is fame and reputation in your social life, signified by the color red and orange. The top right is love, marriage, and relationships, signified by red and pink. Here is creativity and children. That would be things that you make, not just children. Here is helpful people travel. That's where you got people that pop up in your life and just help you, or a mentor. Maybe you need a publisher, or you need band members, things that I need. So things like that. Here, bottom center is your career. Maybe you want to become a partner in your law firm in the next 3 years. Maybe you want to be a broker of your own real estate brokerage. So that could be in there. So here, knowledge, education, self-cultivation. Maybe you want to be a Rhodes Scholar. Maybe you want to win a Nobel Peace Prize and you need to become, maybe you need a master's, so whatever along those lines. So here, family and relationships and your physical health. Maybe you want to lose 100 pounds. Wealth and prosperity. Maybe you want to be the richest person in the state of North Dakota. Here, spiritual wealth and health and well-being. So they're all signified by a different color, and in the old school Feng Shui, they even have a direction: south, north, east, west, southeast, southwest, etc. And they also have shapes. So here is a Hagwon mat with shapes. And also elements. Here is a rectangle, shape of wood, and that would be the element. Here in the fame and reputation, a triangle, and the fire is the element. Marriage and relationships, a square, and earth is the element, and on and on. And so I used to make my vision boards, when I did make them, even to fit this map. So if I had something that along the lines of marriage and relationship, I would put it on the top right of the board. So not only did I just take things that I desired and put it on a poster board, but I arranged them in these 9 different boxes with the headings. And so, again, like I said, when you put these different thoughts together, it's not just a vision board now. I got Feng Shui, vision board, traditional Chinese medicine, and understanding of the elements and what they mean and the colors. And every color has a different frequency of the chakras. So I had all that working together when I would make my vision boards. So was it borderline New Age or was it Christian? Well, again, like I said, if God weren't in the mixture, I'd be lost right now. But God was in the mixture, and He made fire, He made wood, He made the earth, He made all the elements, He made all the colors. He made all the colors to have a frequency and a feeling and an emotion attached to it, to have a certain scientific wavelength. So I was using everything that God made, and God was at the top, front, and center in my life. So all this other stuff was just additive information that filled out the creation that we don't learn about in the Bible or in church. So it helped me. But again, if I didn't have God in the mix, I would have been deceived and lost, because I would have seen these things happen and I would have followed it, because I would have experienced it to a degree that I would have been convinced and convicted. So I would have followed Satan into all my dreams, and at the end of it all, he would have been my master. Okay, so at one point I even wrote a book. I was going to entitle it The Christian Response to the Secret. And so trying to put all these different schools of thought together, and how they could be unified under being a Christian. And I believe there is a way, again, because it's New Age didn't create chakras. New Age didn't create anything. They didn't create fire, earth, wind, and fire. They didn't make the pyramid. They didn't make anything. It's just things that God made, and demonic forces through people have claimed them as their own, and they have woven so much of their spells and their faith over time that they hold spiritual worth, if I could put it that way, demonic worth. And so they own it in that way, but again, these building blocks were not made by them, they were made by God, and demonic forces took them over and made them their own as a repetitive symbol over the history of mankind. None of these things belong to the demonic forces, but they all belong to God, because God made everything. So that's the way I saw it. Since God made everything, if there's an understanding of chakras, about the way the color separates, and every part of our body has a different light frequency that resonates with it, if that's the way God made us, then I'm going to take it. But I'm not saying that I'm going to follow the chakra theory or the Indian philosophy, just because I'm Asian. I'm not going to follow the traditional Chinese medicine philosophy into getting medallions of dragons or frogs or whatever. I'm going to take the creation part of it, put it under God, and I'm going to use it. That's what I'm going to do. But here is where it's very, very dangerous, and why I don't want you to have a vision board if you're not founded on Christ. Number one. Why? Because vision boards work. They work. They work. They work. They work. I'm going to tell you that they work. They don't always work. But if you're focused in any kind of a way, they will work. Number one, they will work because we have the creative power of God. We're created in the image of God. We have the ability to speak forth things. God didn't think in his mind, like be. He spoke it. And when we think it, and we speak it, and we write it down, and we think about it, and feed our hearts with it, there's stuff happening in the subatomic world. Particles are moving toward manifesting and forming that thing to happen. I remember hearing a study that was done. I think people are never supposed to volunteer for anything in the army or military, but I think they took these drug addicts that were once veterans that had no life and would have been homeless people, and used them for an experiment. They would put them in a chamber and give them a different stimulus, like pornography or drugs or whatever, but they would have a hunk of their DNA, like a bunch of saliva or whatever, clear on the other side of the country. And when they're watching pornography, their chemistry would change, and their DNA on the other side of the country would change along with it. So there's something in us that we create just by the way we think and we are, because of the way we're made and created in the image of God. We ourselves are creators without having to make things with our hands. We're making this world happen. And so because of that, if you have a vision board or you had emitted a desire at all, something moved. Something moved. But maybe you weren't very focused, you're not very clear, you're maybe flippant, you're not very committed to your desires, so it's not going to get to the point where it's going to manifest in your rock solid world that's physical, in the Newtonian physical world. But something did move. So the danger in that is something does move, but the danger in that is nothing happens. So it could tempt you to lose faith. I don't believe that. That stuff doesn't work. That may be good for you if you're not a Christian and you stay away from it. That may not be good for you if you're a Christian because you stop believing altogether, even faith in God. So there are many ways we can go with that. But number one, they do work on a subatomic level to some degree. If you're not highly organized, it's not going to manifest in your life. So it's, for all intents and purposes, something moved, but it didn't work. Number two danger is that they do work. They do work because we are created in the image of God, and something did move. And if you are highly focused, if you are committed to your outcome, and you have very, very deep intentions and deep reasons, as what your whys are very, very deep. Your reason why you have to have it are very compelling, and every day you're in it, and every day your very being becomes a prayer toward it. You're making it happen. And you know who the source is? The source is you. You're the source. It's coming from you. The heartbeat of the manifestations are coming from you. And that's dangerous because you start depending on yourself, that you think you're the God, you're the creator, you make things happen. And that's kind of what we see in the movie The Secret. You are creators with God. You are like God. You are equal to God. You create your own world. And to a degree, that's true. God gave us the will to do that, to create our own world. That they don't say that in a secret, that it's limited to this world. But that's danger number 2, because they do work and you think it's you. And it is you. But then you become your own God, and you've lost the true God. You become your own idol. So that's a big danger, especially for a Christian, but for any human being that wants to end up in heaven. Big problem. Okay, so the third thing is it works, and you're not the source. The devil's the source. Maybe he's been watching you for a long time through his monitoring spirits. He's got underlings that have underlings that have underlings that come and spy on you and see what you like, and maybe they even put the ideas to put on the vision board in your head and in your heart. And again, demonic forces, in the low ranks, they're really stupid, and they don't know anything, and they don't have a lot of power. All they can do is hear things in the spirit and report it back to the higher principalities and powers. But the higher ones, they've been studying mankind for a long time, and they watch us, and I think they can probably, like dogs can smell fear, they can smell our frequencies and our emotions. They can't read our minds, but they've observed us so long that they can, to a degree, tell what's going on. And that's why we can fool them with speaking in tongues, and just preaching the word and singing songs about God just confounds them. But apart from that, if you don't have any spiritual strength in the Lord, then they can kind of watch us and figure us out. And in that way, they can see what we write, see for what we would sell our soul. If we want that person, these are the things that we can make happen, and then lure them in. Oh, what would you do for this? Do a little something, and boom, he gives it to you. Says, would you do this to get that? Boom. So before you know it, you're doing a little bit more, things that violate your conscience, things that were gray areas, but now they're not. Maybe that was once black and white. Now they're gray areas, and maybe the shades of gray are getting more and more blurred, and before you know it, it all seems kind of okay. And after all, everything's working. All the blessings are coming. It must be God. It's good. It's working. I think we've all seen something about the celebrities selling their souls to the devil. And I think the ones that do know they're going to the dark side. I think they know it. They just don't know what to do to stop it. Another reason why we need to be praying for them and create some sort of ministry for them. But we need to break it out in the open. So hence here I am. We're talking about this. So that's the biggest pitfall of all, is that if you're falling into a snare that the devil has set up for you. He's telling you what to ask for, telling you what to write, and he's making them happen to lure you in. Or you're giving him a clear blueprint of what you want, and your great faith for those selfish desires will get the devil's attention. I think Fast and Furious 6 was on yesterday, and Brian goes into jail so he could get Braga's attention. So he punches out the guy that helps him break into the jail, breaks his nose, because then they started talking about him, and Braga found him right away. So now if you've got this great faith that's believing for all these selfish desires, then it's like getting his devil's attention. So he's going to be right there going, I've got someone that's primed and ready. So that's danger number 3. So danger number 1, something's going to move, but it won't really work, and it'll burn out your faith. Danger number 2, it will work, and you'll have been the source because of your blood, sweat, and tears, and your heart, and your whole being essence was in it, and maybe it was in it without God, and you think that you're God, because you're making things happen. Danger number 2. Danger number 3 is it works, and it's Satan's behind it. Either he directly sets you up, or he's directly watching you and ready to recruit you because you're all set up already. So those are 3 dangers, and why you should not have a vision board unless you're rock solid, founded on Christ. Okay, so today we talked about vision boards, and is it okay for a Christian to have vision boards? This is part 1, and this part is the part that kind of goes over what a vision board is, how it was brought up to the forefront of culture, and do they work, do they not work, and the pitfalls for a Christian and for every human being. Next segment, we're going to talk about vision boards and for a Christian, and how we can do it in a way that's godly and as rock solid and watertight. Okay, so this is Arabella Gordon talking about vision boards for Christians, and this is part 1. If anybody has a comment or a question, please write them down on the comments, and please click like and look out for the next video. If anyone has an argument about anything I presented, I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to post your own video. This is a video from my views and what I've learned in my life. So it's not about me, but I'm presenting what I've learned and what I've gathered, what I've learned from the Lord. If you have a different view, please teach us on your own video. But here, if you have a genuine question, we're going to go ahead and deal with it and talk about it. Because these vision boards are so powerful, they really are. The question is, whose source? And is this something that I should do as a Christian? So for now, the answer is no. If you are not rock solid founded on Christ, do not make a vision board until you are. Or watch the next segment and maybe we can do this together and make it rock solid founded on Christ and see it manifest. All right, so this is Arabella Gordon. We'll see you next time.